I won't do it.
You can't make me do it.
Ah, I hate cleaning and I don't want to do it.
When children sometimes just decide to be the boss of themselves and not obey you, the parents, we most times catch ourselves saying we need to do better as parents. But let's remind ourselves that most children will have moments of defiant. You're welcome back to my channel. My name is Unwa Duto and I am a teens coach. In this video, we'll be looking at 5 tips on how to lead a strong-willed child. Let's get right into the video. Strong-willed children, or oppositional defiant disorder. Which is it? They are both behavioral concepts. From just looking at the behavior of a child, we say, oh, this child is strong-willed, or we say this child has ODD. But now ODD has to be clinically tested and proven. We cannot just say, this child has ODD. Has it been looked at by a specialist before we categorize that child? Strong-willed child. A strong-willed child is defined as one who is stubborn and always has to get their way. These children often have difficulties associated with disruptive behavior disorders. So in an extreme case, that's when we say ODD, which is oppositional defiant disorder, or ADHD, which is attention deficit hyperactive disorder, or just conduct disorder. Being stubborn, being defiant, not giving in to authority, we say such children are strong-willed. But when a child is showing this kind of behavior, a negative pattern, antagonistic, defiant behavior for a period of time, it is necessary to get the child to see a doctor, and the doctor will refer you to a specialist that could look at the child and tell you how to proceed with that child. But today we're going to be looking at the self-willed child. So plain stubborn, always wanting to have their way, love making decisions all by themselves. You can't tell me what to do. Allow me do what I want to do all by myself. They will revolt if you tell them what to do. Then they will opt to do the opposite of what you have told them to do. Always opposing authority. I'm sure you might have caught yourself in the supermarket looking across in disdain at a child who just would not stop crying because the parents have refused to buy that child a certain item. And you hear the parents go, no matter how hard you cry, it's not going to make me buy it. I'm not buying it. So keep quiet. But the child will throw more tantrums and not keep quiet. Yes, those are one of the skills that they have when they are younger. As they grow older, they don't cry, but then they just became plain old stubborn. So what do we do as parents if we have such children? What do we do? Children usually thrive on love. So for this kind of children, love them and have loads of patience. So just breathe and tell yourself, I need to have patience. See, I'm talking from experience. I have my own fair share. So yes, they thrive on love and you need to be extra patient with these ones. So children understand the language of love. So it is necessary that the child understands that you love them. So even when you get to punish them, even when consequences need to play out, let them know that you are doing it from a place of love. And when they have decided that until they have their way, then you bring out your bag of patience. Because you will be needing loads of it. So love them and be patient with them. So the second tip will be, don't go into a power struggle with them. You don't want to be caught arguing and shouting and fighting all the time with your child. This mostly have to do with teenagers. Once they get into the tweens and teens age, it is more of a struggle, more of a fight, with children that are very strong-willed. So try to avoid getting into a power struggle with them. But if you do get into one, make sure you win it. Pick the issues you can control. That way you will win the power of struggle. Something that helps you win a power struggle is timing. Focus more on timing. Choose your battle and when to do battle. A good example, curfew. Your teenager goes out and doesn't meet the curfew. He comes home pretty late. And when your child comes home, all you do is, oh, welcome, I'm glad you're back home. And the child is looking at you. You can even go as far as hugging the child. But the child at that point, guess what? The child is confused. Because all his way home, do you know what the child has been thinking of? The story to tell you. Yes, the child has been cooking up a story that you will buy as a parent. But now, all you are saying is what? Welcome. What happened to the banter? What happened to the struggle? We need to fight. Why are we not fighting? So the child gets confused and you look at the child, hug the child and say, don't worry, we'll talk about this tomorrow. And the child goes to bed, you go to bed. So if at that point when you are angry with your child, you begin to shout, there's a great chance that there will be a power struggle where you are angry from a place of anger. We just might not win that battle. So let's not do that battle from a place of anger. We will give it time. So choose your battle and the time for fighting that battle. Tip number 3 will be give them 2 choices and you should be okay with either of the choices. We saw this work so well when my child was really very little. When a child that is 1 year plus have started deciding the clothes that the child would wear, you bring out something, the child will go no and go herself to pick what she wants. She doesn't want what you are finding for her. Why? You're just a little baby. Can you relax and allow us baby you? But no, she will choose for herself what she wanted. So from then we started seeing early signs that this one has a will of her own. One thing that I know that helped, especially at that young age, and still works till now, is that you bring 2 choices. For example, the example of clothes. So we bring 2 and we say pick one. Then the child picks one and the child is excited about it. So they love to make choices. And because they love to make choices, let them choose. But give them 2 options that you are okay with. An example again would be this. Most times we catch ourselves saying, get into the car. If not, we'll just leave you here. Everybody is going out. Would you leave the child there? You really wouldn't. So the child knows you cannot go without taking the child. So the child will stay there and call your bluff. So you are not okay with one of the options, which is leaving the child there. Go do the dishes, or you will never eat a meal in this house again. I think that child would not do the dishes, but the child will keep eating in that house. That's my thought. Because you have given the child 2 options. One you are okay with, the other you are not okay with. It will be better to me, I think, to say, in my opinion, go do the dishes or go arrange your room. Those are 2 duties that child needs to accomplish. So the child has to choose one. So in the case of having the child go into the car and the child refusing to go, there is just one option there. I need you to go into the car. So Dr. Paul said in this case, what you should do is give 2 options with consequences to those options. One of the consequences you have control over, but the other consequence you do not have control over. So for example, for the case of going into the car, you will say you can either go into the car pleasantly for free, or you can go into the car crying and yelling for a fee. So in the case of a very little child, the fee the child has to pay would be reducing their playtime or reducing their access to something that you know they love so much. Let your child know that when I say with at a fee for very little children who they are not handling money yet, the fee will be a reduction in something that the child loves. But then for older ones, teenagers, twins, they're already having allowances and all that. So yeah, you can reduce the allowances. So tip number 4 would be set ground rules and consequences you can control. Don't set consequences that are out of your control. So a perfect example of consequences are this. If you don't do a certain thing, then you will do dishes for a week. Yes, you might have control over that, but not totally. Who is doing the dishes? The child is, not you. So you don't fully have control over it. If your child decides your child is not going to do the dishes, what happens then? Internet access, you control it. Means of transportation, you control it, the parent. Allowances, you control that. So you don't need your child's input to get allowance. No, it is all your money, right? So that you control. But when you give consequences like you will take out the garbage for 1 week, the child can decide not to take the garbage and pretend that he forgot. What do you do in that instance? The number 5 would be see it through. See that consequence through. Because when you tell your child, do this or this will happen, and you never do this that will happen, your child is just getting more stubborn. So there is nothing your child is learning from it. But when your child knows that, there will be no access to internet if I should disobey this, if I shouldn't do this, your child will do it. So once you see that your child is always disobeying on a certain thing or being stubborn towards a certain action, put a consequence to that action. A consequence that you control, and then see that consequence through. So a brief recap. For strong-willed children, love them. You owe your children love. So love them. Then you need to be extremely patient with them. The second tip we shared was don't go into a power tussle with them. If you have to go into one, then ensure that you win it. How do we win it? By paying attention to timing. Choose your battles right. The third point, give them 2 choices and be okay with either of the choices. The fourth tip was set ground rules and consequences you control. The fifth tip, see the consequence through. So these 5 tips would actually help you not to fight often with your child who is strong-willed. You find out that you are having a wonderful time living together with your strong-willed child. Thanks a lot for watching this video. I'm going to see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.